Ba, ba. Do, 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 do. Early adopters get this. Early adopters get a little look at this. Look at this shit. Look at this. Look how pretty it is here today. That's right. That's right. That's right. Good stuff. Good stuff. What it do, how it be, hello, hello, hello. You guys file in and listen to that train. I'll be right back. Yeah. Boom, 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 boom. Chugga, 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 choo, choo. Choo choo. Yep. How the apes doing tonight? Maybe that would be a good name for all of like the Highdeology watchers. Apes. How the apes tonight? Ape together strong, you know? Ape alone weak. Ape together strong. All you shaved apes. How do I keep my hair so nice? I just wash it, yo. I wash my hair. I brush my hair. That's it. That's it. It's actually a little more complex than that, but I don't want to bore people with my hair care routine yet again. Where's Caesar? Rodney's dog? With Rodney. I watch the morning Highdeologies to learn about my hair. Yeah, I actually, like, now that I think about it, my hair care routine is pretty ridiculous. There's a lot of products and stuff that you use, that I use, in order to make my hair not a mess. I'm sure a gay hairstylist would love to do your hair, do it like a woman, but he gets to do it on a man for once. You like his singing, D? Did you like his song he was singing? He did. He was singing a song. He was singing a nice song, wasn't he? Sounded nice. Dun, 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 dun. I miss Cinema for Cynics. Sorry, bro. Most men don't go spending big money there, and it's normally contemporary cuts if they do. What? Man, I'm not going to no fucking thing to get my hair cut. Getting vaccinated tomorrow, good on you. I got my first one yesterday. What's up, Paul? Loved the DFF tonight. Glad you liked it. Yeah, I love doing the Clits of Steel episodes. They're fun. And TJ's right. He brings it up multiple times over the course of the episode. But like, Hollywood is really sleeping on a lot of these, like, strong women life stories. Like, in an era where, you know, representation is big and stuff, like, all of these female badasses and shit just plain, like, get forgotten a lot of the times. And you know, I've learned about a ton of them just researching these shows. And any one of the ones that I've covered individually would make for a fucking really interesting, you know, biopic or war film or whatever the fuck. You're born in the same town as Stunt Plane Woman, Small World. You're born in, where was she born? Atlanta, Texas, right? Women are just boring to most. What? Huh? Say what? Sniper stories are super interesting, but rarely ever told unless it's about a Chris Kyle type of dude. Yeah, like Ludmila Pavlichenko's story or whatever needs to be a fucking movie. Like, the greatest Russian sniper that ever lived, the greatest counter sniper that ever lived, possibly. Definitely on the list, you know what I mean? Oh, I'm definitely gonna watch the new Mortal Kombat. I think it comes out in a couple days or some shit, right? Definitely gonna take that. Take a gander at it for sure. I mean, I've always bitched that the Mortal Kombat films should have been like gory and bloody and crazy and adult. And like the fact that they try to make them kids movies is what ruined them. And here we go. You know what I mean? We're getting like a full blown bloody, gory, cussy Mortal Kombat, just the way it should be, man. It could suck, but I've got hopes. I've got, you know, my eyebrow is raised. The possibility that we're looking at a decent flick here. What do you think? Why do you think people refuse to acknowledge their privileges? Yeah, well, because there's a number of reasons, and here's what I think. The idea of privilege is hateful to some people. because they feel like, well, you don't know me. You can't look at me and know the miles that I've walked in my boots. You know, you don't know what my privilege is, et cetera, et cetera. And then there's also, I think, this idea that they don't want to admit that they had privilege because it's almost shameful to them that it was easier for them to get through this aspect of life than maybe it was for somebody else. And so they need to have this kind of rugged individualist story and this rugged individualist idea of how the world works in order to kind of like keep that ego intact. You know, I don't see it that way, but I think a lot of people that deny the existence of class privilege and racial privilege and sexual privilege, you know, I think that is at the root of a lot of it. They need to feel, you know, like everybody's got it hard. I've got a unique story, which is true. Just because you're white doesn't mean you don't live a horrible, hard, grueling life. It just means that your life probably would have been a different kind of grueling and hard and horrible if you were black. Good evening. I mean, I do think that that's like, yeah, I don't think that that's how it is, but I do think that people see it that way. I think that there's an ego-based kind of, wait a minute now, I didn't have any goddamn fucking privilege. And it's like, well, yeah, you did. You know, that doesn't make your life story any less interesting to me, and I think that that's what people think. I think that it's this idea amongst a lot of people that the idea of discussing privilege in society undercuts their personal achievement or makes light of their personal struggle in some way, and I really don't think it does. D, you leave that kitty alone. You know that kitty now. That kitty and you have met a couple of times, okay? You leave her alone. Let her do her thing out there. She got babies. She got babies that she has to try and take care of, okay? She don't need you as another thing bothering her babies. There's plenty of things out there that she's got to worry about other than you. You just leave her alone. Leave that kitty alone. Be a good boy. As for white privilege, it's more to do with being bigger in population and having control over most parts of the government. I mean, it's not just that, though. I mean, think about white representation versus POC representation in media. For a very long time in this country, black artists were few and far between, or were buried, or had to work 3 times as hard as their white counterparts to get half the notoriety. Black actors, movies based around black things are often niche films rather than just mainstream films. You know what I mean? There's a lot wrapped up into this. Damn it, I just want to send you money. Why do I keep getting banned? You're not banned. If you can send me money, you're not banned. So I don't know what to tell you, buddy. I think people are really dismissive of the privilege of not having ADHD. Well, yeah, I mean, like, that's another layer. It's like of privilege, neurotypical versus neuroatypical privilege. You know. What up, Paul? Nothing to add. Just wanted to share some of my hard-earned tendies with one of my favorite content creators. What a nice person you are. Thank you. I very much appreciate you. D, hey. He's on a fucking whatever. he's gonna do it no matter what. D, come on, get your butt up here. All right, you did your thing. Yeah, you're gonna catch a paw one of these days. I think she was probably spooked by your vest. Come here. Come on. Get up here. I think she's probably spooked by this vest that you're wearing more than anything. You got a laser vest on tonight. She probably was like, "What the fuck is that?" If you didn't have that on, you might have gotten fucked up. Borking up the wrong tree, indeed. You're gonna get it, dude. She's got babies. She's gonna fuck you up. I'll be honest with you guys, I am not the best person to talk about this shit. Like we're having a talk today about privilege and all of that stuff, and I understand the basics and stuff, but I'm not the best person to fucking have this conversation with, to be honest with you. And I'm saying very generalized things here to avoid talking out my ass, because this is a concept that is rather new to me too. You know what I mean? I'm not a long time proponent of this idea. And so I really don't, I don't want to present myself as some kind of expert on the fucking subject when I'm clearly not, but I try and give you what I understand about it. Talk about skinny privilege. Yeah. Probably going to be more race topics if the Devontae Wright protests fire up in the coming weeks. You're probably right about that. I feel like it gets to the point where you're just bending over backwards to try and determine who's has it better than. See, that's the problem. This is not, from what I understand, and I'm like I said, I'm not the best person to defend these counter arguments, right? But I don't see it that way. I don't see it. I used to make jokes, and TJ used to make jokes as well about the oppression Olympics, and it's like that's how this kind of model of intersectionality was made fun of back in the day. This idea of there being different layers of privilege that all feed into a person's unique situation, and so to me, it's not about who he or she or they who are more oppressed equals the best. That's a misunderstanding of this whole idea of this stack of intersectionality, right? So I could understand how people could misconstrue it, but if you really look at what it's talking about, it's about trying to understand people. And that's what won me over about it. It's about trying to understand people to the best of your knowledge and their unique positions in society and the unique positions that they hold in society and about society, right? This is not about X is better than Y because X went through more bullshit. This is not about X deserves more than Y because X has to put up with more shit. This is about recognizing in people the unique story that makes them them and the unique influences on that story. So those are different types of privilege, right? As a white man, a cis-gendered white man, I enjoyed a different kind of upbringing and a different kind of American experience than I would have had I been a black man. Cisgendered. If I were a black man, I would have enjoyed and when I say enjoyed, I just mean experience. So let's use that. I would have experienced a different upbringing than if I were a black woman or a trans black person or a disabled person. You see what I mean? It's about acknowledging that everybody is raised in this country under different pressures, right? And that those pressures inform that person's unique story and the overarching story of their group. There are like radical feminist sources that you'll find that take this idea to the nth fucking degree and say like, oh, well, wherever you are on the privilege ladder, like the lower you are on the privilege ladder, the more important what you have to say is, or the lower you are on the privilege ladder, nobody above you can contradict you or engage you in debate or disagree with you. I've seen these types of ideas proffered, but the way that this whole idea was presented to me was not in that way. What's up, Leif? Leif Halstead III. What a noble name you've got. Yeah, that has nothing to do with the core concept of intersectionality. What? Oh, you're talking about right. You're talking about the kind of rad feminist position. I'm white and live in an area that's 80% black. They technically have black privilege, from what I understand of this concept. Well, no. You don't seem to understand. It's not about just being a minority. It's about being oppressed for being a minority. So just because you grew up in an area that was mostly black people doesn't mean that you were more oppressed than those black people. Those black people still had to deal with different social pressures that you never had to deal with as a white person. Stops and frisks, pullovers for no fucking reason, petty drug busts. These are all things that you as a white boy walking around in your 80% black town probably didn't have to deal with much. And a lot of the white or non-white people that lived around you had to deal with that shit. You see what I'm saying? Paul, do you have any problem with any kind of bigot who doesn't do or say anything rude to anyone and simply chooses not to engage with the type of people like they do not like? Peaceful non-engagement. I mean, do I have a problem with their position? Yes. Am I ever going to run into them? No. So I don't spend a whole lot of time talking about them. But I will say this, Princess R. Racism is incubated in environments like that. Okay? I was raised by people like that. We're not outwardly racist people, and in fact, outwardly very accepting people. I lived in an area that was very heavily racially mixed. A lot of my parents' friends were non-white, mostly Hispanic. The ones that deviated were Hispanic. I have a big family, and most of that family is white, but one of my very closest family members is Hispanic. And her boys, who are all my cousins, are all half Hispanic. So outwardly, very accepting. Inwardly, very, very racist, right? And that type of bigotry, that kind of like, well, I just don't go around them, so I don't talk about it. I don't proffer my ideas, no way, but I don't like them darkies. That type of stuff, that's like the soil that racism grows in. Because those people raise children. I could have gone a different way. Had I not seen the utter refutation of the racism that I heard at home, at school, because I would hear at home, oh, Mexican people are lazy, or Hispanic people are lazy, or Hispanic people are leeches, they just want to come here and get this or that or the other thing, right? I would hear that shit. And then I would go to school with predominantly Hispanic people and have predominantly Hispanic friends. And I would go over to these Hispanic friends' houses. And you know what I saw? A household just like mine, with parents that worked fucking hard to keep what they had. And a kid that was into the same shit as me. It just was like it was right in my face. It smacked me in the face, the utter stupidity of this idea. And I was lucky for that. Because a lot of people, this type of racism is because of what you were talking about, Princess Sora. This type of racism, like these communities grow up where the implicit idea is it's a white community. And then if I was in that type of community, if I was in a private school, like if my parents had sent me to a private school that was predominantly white, I'd be a different person. I can almost fucking guarantee it. I was not born a racist. I was made into one as a child. I was, well, not made into one. I don't really think children can be racist, but you get my idea. I was fed this covert kind of like look over your shoulder racism as a kid. Oh, I thought it was you that said it, Princess, or I'm sorry. Anyway. Doesn't matter. The point is that to me is important. Like, it's important to me to confront even that covert, keep to myself kind of racism, because that's the soil in which racists are made. You know, and I very, very well could see myself having gone another way as a kid, having had a much different outlook. It was Dakota that asked. Sorry, you guys both have pink avatars, so I get you mixed up. I've had the opposite experience as you, Paul. I will not say with which group of people, as I'm trying to have an adult conversation, not a flame war, but there's a group of people I have always... Paul, you probably remember during the 80s. Oh, thank you, baby. What's this? Tortellinis? Raviolis? Oh my goodness. Thank you, baby. You guys are gonna have to watch me eat a salad now. Let's talk about racism and eat a salad. Racism and salad with Paul's ego. Oh, that's good. I'm saying that a lot of people who are racist were raised racist, is what I'm saying. I'm not a racist, but only because I was confronted with the backwardsness and stupidity of racism at an early age, and the hypocrisy of it. And I was also raised by the people that raised me to be a questioning enough mind to question even their orthodoxy. But I just saw in front of my face the absolute refutation of all of the stupid bullshit that my parents would talk about Hispanic people and black people and Asian people.
Is it okay?
Really good.
Yeah.
Best salad in a while. 10 out of 10 salad. Racism as a pathological ill is self-destroying. Racism as ignorance is not even a problem worth addressing. Well, where do you think that racism starts? Because that's what we're talking about here, Jason. Like, racism starts at home. It doesn't always begin there. It doesn't always come from that angle. But people don't become neo-Nazis in fucking homes where everybody's treated equally and there's no racist rhetoric and shit. There's no and we started talking about covert undertone type of racism here. that kind of look over your shoulder type of racism that my mom and dad still practice. Well, I won't speak for my dad. I haven't spoken to him in a while, but I assume. Dog whistling, right? I mean, it goes even beyond that. It's clearly like racist shit said in a hushed tone, you know, laden and dripping with like, I don't want to say this, but you know, Mexican people are gonna take this town over. That was the big thing back in the fucking day where I grew up.
Or I like black people, but
Right. There's always a qualifier. I got no problem with. I mean that shit all the time. I really have no problem with the ones that, you know, the ones that work hard, but it's these lazy ones that just come here and have babies. Just come here to have babies. Whispering black, right? Mixed race people, sure. Mixed race people have an entirely unique perspective. I agree. I want to know why you assumed I didn't deal with search and frisk. I've had a lot of run-ins with racist black people where I live. I didn't. I mean, if you got stopped and frisked a lot more than the average black person in your town, I'd be fucking surprised. There's always an exception that proves the rule, but you as a white boy probably got hassled a lot less by the cops. Now, you dealt with black people being mean to you because you were in a black majority area. That's not what I'm talking about. That's part of your story. It's not to be dismissed, but that's not what I'm talking about. What are you eating? This is a salad. I'm eating a salad. Delicious salad, too. Filled to the brim with delicious little tidbits. My favorite thing about your salads is you throw in the craisins. Mm-hmm. A little bit of dressing, yeah. It's got like a
French dressing.
French. Pretty good. Where's the beef? Yeah, it's a meatless dinner tonight. Mm-hmm. Very good.
Don't forget your ravioli.
Oh, yeah. Got to get some ravioli down me, too.
I can get it back up if you want.
No. I'm going to get a couple of these right now. Mm-hmm. Mix them in with this salad. Oh, snap. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's the stuff. That's the goods. You losing weight? I think I've actually been putting on weight the last month or so. Just had like a rough, like I don't judge myself for it. Just had like a rough month where I did a lot of comfort eating and shit. And I don't know. You know, like I said, you can't kick yourself. I've probably put on a few pounds, couple pounds in the last month. But
I mean, the overall trend is down. Then.
yeah, I'm still way lighter than I was this time last year. And that's good. The overall trend is down. You can't kick yourself for the little fuck ups, but I trace a direct line to how it happened. I just had a bad fucking month and I did a lot of fucking stress eating and shit. And that's that. I had like a medication swap. I'm not trying to blame it on things. I'm just saying. I went through a lot of mental turmoil in the last month or two and it expressed itself in a lot of stress eating and shit. Greatest fear an SJW has is that the pathological racist might be correct and that the ignorant racist might be an innocent victim. What? Where'd you get that, Jason? Are you just copy pasting from Stormfront now? Where you get this idea, Jason? Which stupid, cancerous fucking talking head foster father figure in your life is this one from? Is that a Jordan Peterson quote? You came up with it yourself? Yeah, based on who's thinking? Who gave you the idea, Jason? Trace the genesis of that thought, Jason.
Jason is the chat's test subject.
Mm-hmm.
This is a long-term study.
I would put Jason under the microscope. Your racist friend Vince. Well, there you go, Jason. It's the genesis of your thought. Making apologetics for racism comes from a racist dude. There's a shocker. I'm fully shocked by that fucking revelation. Yeah, Jason's got this like false dichotomy racism. He thinks that there's like the Machiavellian racist that's real smart and the dumb racist who's just racist because they were told to be. I don't really see a distinguishment, like a line of distinguishment between those two. Quit asking what the fuck I'm eating. I've already told you. I have a salad and I have fucking tortellini or raviolis. Okay? I'm eating my goddamn dinner. Leave me alone.
Y'all don't understand. If I don't force food on Paul, he won't eat it until like 2 o'clock in the morning.
That's true. She speaketh the truth. What's in the salad? Leafy greens, mushrooms, lettuce, tomato, spinach, some croutons in there. It's fucking delicious. All the good things. Racism is just racism. Nice meme, says Jason. Racism isn't just racism. Nice meme. Is this more metaphorical truth, Jason? Are you dropping more metaphorical truth bombs on us with this hot take tonight? Nothing is just what it is. Ooh. Says who? Everything has an essence to its substance, yes. And you, of course, have divined the essence to all substances, haven't you? And developed a narrative around the essence of a subject. Jason is a men's rights activist. Yep. He's an MRA. There are 3 kinds of racism. Oh boy. All right. Let's hear them. Because to me, there's one kind of racism. The belief, for whatever reason, that one race is superior to another race, inherently. And it's expressed in many different ways. Comes in many different guises, but at its core, that's what it is. So let's hear your 3 kinds of racism versus my single racism model.
Torching everything.
Yep. Torch it up. There's pathological racism, born from being slighted by somebody of any race, creating a compartmentalized hatred of that race or culture. Okay.
So like PTSD racism?
PTSD racism, right. That's what he's saying. And that differs from inherent taught racism in what way? So are you telling me that that person lives in a vacuum, was wronged by somebody of another race, and then surrounded by people who countered that narrative but still decided to stay racist? It's not inherently incorrect, but it kind of has Swiss cheese holes if you look at it under scrutiny. Hello, Mr. Naughty Priest. Thank you for being with us tonight. So you're saying in a vacuum, a person is wronged by somebody of a different skin color of their own, and then independently develops an entirely racist narrative with no influence from anybody else in their life, no influence from any other racist thinker, right? That's what you're saying. I don't think that's the way that psychology works. I think that psychology refutes your first example as some kind of standalone, in a vacuum racism idea, like a racism creator. It doesn't make any sense. So nobody lives in a vacuum. Everybody lives with different pressures and stuff. And I can imagine that somebody might trace their own racist thought back to being wronged by somebody, but I can guarantee you that somebody watered that plant along the way. Whether it was mom or dad with their covert racism or their implicit racism, or whether it was some extremist group online that they found,
or the cop that took the case,
the cop, right? You see what I'm saying? So once again, my model of racism is the belief that one race is superior to another race inherently. Holds up under scrutiny, but your specific model starts to fall apart under direct scrutiny. But let's hear the second one and see if it's as flimsy as the first. What's your second kind of racism? What's racism to Electric Boogaloo?
Yeah, that's a good point. Caho, I think. Yeah, like people experience slights from people of their own race all the time.
Right. There's an ironic racism stemming from belonging to groups of people who have no hang-ups about racist humor, which inevitably develops into a lack of empathy for the ironic topics. Okay, okay. How is this different from the first type of racism? Or how is this complete? Like, couldn't this be something that takes your first racist and makes him into an actual racist? Couldn't a combination of being wronged by somebody from another race and having a support group that engages in what you call ironic racism, couldn't that have been the watering of the plant, proving that there's no difference between these two? One needs the other. Because the first type of racism is an irrational justification based on perceived abuse. How do you know that the second kind of racism isn't born of that too? So you're in the mind of the ironic racist and you know that they've never been wronged by a black person or never developed their racism, or that their ironic, joking acceptance of racial humor doesn't come from that place? I don't see enough of a distinguishing line between your 1 and 2 to say that racism comes in 3 types. And I don't see enough validity in either of these descriptions to split racism into 3 separate types of racism. I think that Jason would probably agree with you, Magoo. Well, like everything, every psychological concept is a spectrum. So yes, people are racist for different reasons.
And different extents.
Right. And to different extents, but it's all part of the same whole. It's all part of the same body. There's not 3 distinct types of racism. And how people come to it and how people engage in it at the end of the day is just semantic. Well, I actually, Tacky Jackie, I actually went through this type of PTSD. So I was robbed at gunpoint by 2 black gentlemen. And after that, for a while, had a natural aversion to being around like places where a black person might walk by my car.
Like if they walk across the street.
Right.
Like...
Right. I was hyper vigilant around black people for a while. And that was part of, PTSD expressing itself. So I managed to come out the other end of that and not be a racist. I managed to come out the other end of that and not append every negative trait of the 2 people that did this to me to every fucking black person on the planet. You calling the 2 thugs that robbed you gentlemen is white guilt coming to the surface? Maybe they are gentlemen.
It's been what, like over 20 years?
I was 16. I was 15, 16 when this happened to me.
So it's 25 years.
25 years ago.
You don't know who the fuck they are now.
I don't even remember their names. I remember one of their last names because it was just a very easy to remember last name.
Mm-hmm.
They gently carjacked you. You people get hung up on the stupidest shit. They were both kids, yes. The one that brandished the gun at me was 17, and the one that drove the car was 14 years old. I was 16 when this happened. They were children. Yeah, they love to push this thug language, but you hardly ever hear, like, I don't think Jason has ever referred to a white person as a thug ever. In all the time that I've known Jason, I don't think he's ever used the term thug to describe a fucking white person. But he's very like intent on me using the word, as if I don't understand that it's racially loaded. I only know the last name of one of them. I would have to talk to my mom about this and get like documents that she has up in a box in her attic and shit to get their fucking names. No thanks. It's not something I need to do. Talking about it is tough sometimes. I don't need to look at documents and put myself back in that fucking place. As a person that suffers from PTSD, you got to understand that. Paul, the fact that you're not racist despite the combination of being surrounded by racists growing up and the incident where you were held at gunpoint is admirable. Ignore these idiots. I mean, it is what it is. I just reject the idea that people are fundamentally bad because of the color of their skin and that people are fundamentally good because of the color of their skin. I've been fucked over in my life by black people. I've been fucked over in my life by brown people. And I've been fucked over in my life by white people. There are shitty people and there are good people. And the color of the skin really has nothing to do with it. Do you agree most people are racist because they were raised to be racist by their parents and family? I do. Do you believe society will ever outgrow racism or will we always have to deal with it? Two-part question. Number one, I mean, yeah, that's where the gradient is, right? So my family was not like outwardly racist. As I said, my mom had a gay black friend that was over at my house all the fucking time. A dude who passed away not that long ago, rest in peace, Demas. And he was over at my house all the fucking time. He was one of my mom's best friends from work. But when Demas wasn't around, there was an overarching narrative that was fed to me through little whispered, hushed tones and little statements that were just made, blanket statements about groups of people, categorizing them by race, right? Mexicans are this, blacks are this, right? So there's that type of household. And then, you know, I would imagine on the other end of the scale from that type of household is the, you know, my dad is a fucking Stormfront neo-Nazi type of racism, where you're just like immediately told as a young kid, you are different from all these other people. You know what I mean? But it's a gradient of the same point. Implicit and explicit are the two ends of the scale in my mind. Most racists just learn that it's not smart to be super vocal about their racism. I think TJ said something about it. Racists move quietly. That's usually how they're able to affect things. Yeah, of course. And a lot of it is done with, like we talked about the code wording and the dog whistling earlier of appending the word thug. You know, using the word, why won't you call the guys that fucking carjacked you thugs? It's because I know what that is. I know the code language. I know the code language of covert racism. I'm well acquainted in it. I'm well steeped in it. I was raised in it. So that's why I don't do it. Yeah. Democrats, right? I was molded by it. You are just a visitor to racism. I was shaped by it. Yeah, cops are the real thugs. I agree. Thanks, Tucker. Thanks for the money. What a feller. What a nice feller you are. I make myself oblivious to those words of racism purposefully. It makes them angrier. Yeah. I mean, I've butted heads before with my parents on the issue of race, because it gets to a point where you have to make a fucking decision, right? And this is for everybody. Everybody has to make this decision. When you grow up, when you go out of the house, you got to make the decision like, am I going to put up with the things that I don't like about the people that I love in order to keep them in my life? And there's a scale of that. And it is easier a lot of the times for me to just ignore the racist shit, the little racist comments that'll happen. But I don't do it in my house. That's where I draw my line. If I'm over at somebody's house, like if I go over to my mom's house or something when I'm back visiting, and she says some shit in her house, I'm probably not going to fucking get all up in arms with it. Now, if she wants to talk about something, I'm going to tell her what I think about it. But over here, shoes on the other foot, I don't want to hear that shit over here. This is my house. And that's how I draw that line. Have you ever cut off friends? Yeah, for sure. Different reasons. But yeah, there's definitely times where I've just been like, you have to make that decision. And I've been like, either, this is just too different, like we're too different, or this is just too toxic, or whatever the fuck the case may be. Yeah, I mean, I choose my friends very carefully. And I've had friends come and go for different reasons. I've also got friends that I've given a profound amount of forgiveness to, and that I keep as friends, because despite the fact that they've wronged me in the past, I see a value in them still. So I make a personal judgment and I stand behind my own judgment. That's one thing about myself that I really like now, at this point in my life. I keep my own counsel when it comes to shit like this. I make determinations based on who I want in my life, when I want them in my life, how much I want them in my life. I set hard boundaries and I enforce them, and that's it. That's all there is to it. And I'm true to myself in that. Yes. And there have been times where I've held on to friendship due to loyalty and just long standing friendship for way longer after that friendship had turned toxic. I think the most obvious example of that in my life would be a guy that was my best friend for a lot of years who, I've told a little bit of that story, came to live with me after a divorce and ended up just being kind of a user and stuck around in my life for far longer, far after I knew I was being used, just out of loyalty and out of friendship and out of a common sense of time having passed and a long-standing camaraderie with the guy. But, in retrospect, it was a bad fucking move on my part. It was not a good move for me to allow that person into my life or to keep that person in my life for as long as I did. And so I've used that as a measuring stick in my life ever since, It was a lap.
Yeah, always. Fratello's been struggling with Cynic tonight. He did the ban and then the unban and then
I know.
times.
Cynic is just, you know what I mean. You gotta take everything with a grain of salt with Cynic. Cynic and Jason, it's not shocking to me that they were bosom buddies in the conversation that we had earlier. Jason is, I gotta be honest with you, and I won't go in a fucking full detail about it, but Jason is one of the people who, despite the fact that he's fucked on me a few times, and when I say fucked on me, I mean done some shit that was not cool and not very friendly, is still a friend of mine. He's not my bestest buddy, but, Jason and I still maintain a private friendship despite him being a fucking weirdo and kind of an asshole sometimes. And I've made that judgment as a person of sound mind and body, or at least as sound mind and body as I can muster. You know what I mean? And there are lines with Jason, and that's that.
Did you get full?
Huh?
Did you get full?
Yes, I did. Thank you so much, baby. It was so good. How about this thought? You wouldn't put up with racists in your house. Would you consider this your house? Well, this is not, I'm doing this from my house, and technically Highdeology is my house. And people that come in here and just post stupid racism typically do get banned. But, I probably am more lenient about it here in terms of having discussions with those people than I would be in my home. I just don't want to hear that shit here.
This is more like your the park bench, like a deer park, but
I'm standing on an apple cart in the public square. That's how I look at myself here. And I've got some thugs in the crowd that remove troublemakers. And that's it. This is probably more of a moderated public square scenario, right? Excuse me. Goons. Yep, goons with big, heavy fucking monkey wrenches. Just standing around in the crowd like, say something. Speaking of Jason, where did he go? I don't know. Maybe he got mad. He never delivered the third type of racism. I think he got mad after his second type and he saw I wasn't going to buy it. I wasn't buying what he was selling. You like Rick and Morty? Shut up. Your old psychologist, I'm assuming, it made you realize you only need a couple good friends. Are there still only like 2 people who are really close, or is that more lax? I mean, when it comes to my friends, I have different layers of friends. Like, I got some old friends that I'm not in touch with every day, but I have a lot in common with, and we hang out, and it's like old times pretty quickly. Rodney is one of those guys. You know, Rodney and I don't talk all the time, but he came over the other day, and it didn't take long until we were carrying on like we used to when we were kids. You know what I mean? So that's a layer of friendship. There's, I've got my business partners and friends. I consider them to be a couple of my closer friends. Amelia is my best friend. She's the person that I share, if there's something I'm gonna share, it's gonna go through her. I really don't have a ton of fucking like people that I'd be like, oh, this is my best fucking friend. We're just like the closest fucking. It's like, no. You know what I mean?
You don't have the boys that you go to the bar to once a week or bar with once a week.
Yeah, dude. I don't have that. I don't want it either. I did that. I've been down that road. I've been down the Garth Brooks, blame it all on my roots. I showed up in boots road. I don't need it. Blame it all on my roots. I showed up in boots. Ruined your black tie affair. Good old Garth. When is that ring being fixed? It's sitting in there. I just need to take it to a jeweler. It's not like super duper high on my priority list. You know what I mean? It's something I got to get done, but I've got a ring that I can wear that fits me proper in the meantime. And, once I get my shots and stuff, your theme song, Mr. Naughty Priest likes that. Blame it all. Let me see. Let me see. I drop it. Blame it all on. No, I can't. Blame it all on my roots. I showed up in boots. Ruined your black tie affair. The last one to know. The last one to show. I was the last one you thought you'd see there. And I saw the surprise and the fear in his eyes when I took your glass of champagne. And I toasted you, said, honey, we may be through, but you'll never hear me complain. Do, 'cause I got friends in low places where the whiskey drowns and the beer chases my blues away. And I'll be okay. I'm not big on social graces. Let me slip on down to the oasis. Dude, I fucking love Garth. We share that love, Mr. Naughty Priest. I chased like 20 people away with my Garth Brooksing. They were like, nope, I'm out of here. Good. Good. Get out of here. A Garth only stream, yeah, dude. Yep, finished Cyberpunk. Underwhelmed. Moved on. You live in the South, Garth Brooks will infiltrate your life at some point. Yeah, I mean, well, I didn't grow up in the South, but he infiltrated anyway. Paul Karaoke. I don't know. Polioke. How to get a girlfriend when you're autistic? Get an autistic girlfriend. Do I want to fight you? Sure. Let's go. Let's do the man dance. First swing is yours. I'll give you one free one right here. Let's be honest, kid. You couldn't raise a welt on my fanny. No. I said you're the one that wants this, Whiskey Dreams. You go. Give it to me. Give it to me. Come on, put it right here. Give me your best shot. You better ball up your little fists. Protect your digits. Don't tuck the thumb. Keep the thumb on the outside because you don't want to break your thumbs. Ball up your little digits. Reach back and swing and give me your best shot. Come on. I'll give it to you. Here you go. Hands behind my back. I'll give you this one. People are hooking up in here, see? People love it. Hit me with your best shot. No. Fire away. Since your Latino passing Vegas theme from Street Fighter is your fight song. Right? That's Vegas theme, right? Or is that Guile's theme? That's Guile's theme, yeah. Guile's got the most epic theme, dude. That's the best Street Fighter theme, hands down, for sure. Have you ever left the United States? Yes. I've been to Mexico several times, but that's it. Damn, Brianna, you gonna hook up or what? It's happening. Brianna is gonna get... She's doing it all for the nookie right now. She's gonna fuck Mr. Dumpy? Dude, they're all gonna get together and have a big fuck fest? Holy shit. I don't know what's happening, Duck. I lost control of this one about an hour ago. It's just been, you know, tis what it is. This is why we need a Discord. Hell no, man. I don't want no. I want no part of this shit. This is exactly the type of shit I don't want going on in the Discord, because then people will be coming to me with it. Fucking Brianna's cheating on me with one of your mods, and your mod's making fun of me, and it keeps banning me all the time, and it's not fair. It keeps silencing me. Like, nope. No thanks. You guys go get your hearts broken and take responsibility for it yourselves. I'm not fucking mitigating none of that bullshit ever again. And that's not even a fucking joke, dude. I had that type of shit. I had that type of fucking shit happening. It's just like, what? That is my dryer tumbling. Paul, you just found a new grift, e-dating for neckbeards and socially inept people. Dope. I love it. No, you cannot make an unofficial Discord for everybody in Highdeology. No, you cannot. You do not have my blessing. Now, you can, but you're not going to advertise it here, and you'll never see me in it. I want nothing to do with that shit. Discord is a goddamn fucking cancer. It's literally a melanoma, dude. A living melanoma. I made an unauthorized wiki. That's fine. You know, like, go. I can't stop you from doing what you're going to do. But, I mean, the wiki's different, but I mean, wiki drama is a thing, too. I dealt with fucking wiki drama back in the day. I don't, you know. I learned my lesson. I don't involve my shit in that. If I ever make a Discord server, it'll be so draconian and locked down, and I will be the only fucking thing that isn't a bot that does any banning. And it'll be used for people, like, I will literally just kick everybody that even gives me a fucking hint that they're there to cause drama or not be cool. And we'll whittle it down to like 10 people, and then maybe I'll have a server. But that's a lot of work, so fuck that. All right, I'm out of here. Have a good night. See you later. Bye.